This is the Dollemore Daily, and I'm Jesse Dollemore. Donald Trump is doing his best right now to appear like a settled, relaxed, normal candidate for president of the United States. Doing his town halls, doing his little campaign rallies. I mean, when he's not grifting and when he's not trying to pawn gaudy, weird, Homelander-esque shoes on the American electorate. He sat down with Laura Ingraham last night for a town hall. And there's a couple of clips I want to play for you that really illustrate the danger we face, both in that this is one of the two main choices in our country, but also that he's not doing well. Listen, I've been in television studios. This isn't necessarily a television studios, but it's filled with lights. And I have to keep the temperature really low because it gets hot in here. I'm also a bigger fella, not quite Trump size, but I get being overheated. But Donald Trump sweats like he's getting ready to be outed for a crime. Every time you look at him, he is just gushing the sweat. And it's no different in a Fox News studio sitting across from Laura Ingraham answering questions. That's more of an invective than it is a commentary. But I want to play this first clip because Donald Trump is ranting and raving again, and it'll increase. It's going to pick up. The pace at which he talks about voter fraud is going to increase the closer we get to the election. But in this first clip, he's talking about how voter fraud, if you have mail-in voting, you automatically have voter fraud. That's just the way it is. And even Laura Ingraham, even the fascist darling Laura Ingraham, is pushing back against Donald Trump, pointing out the illogical nonsense that is just falling from his fat face at every moment. Watch this clip, and then we're going to talk about just how stupid it is.
How are you going to make sure that mail-in ballots and voter fraud, which we heard from a lot of people in line, was an issue front and center? They're very concerned about mail-in voting. So forget the past. What are you going to do to make sure we don't have problems going forward?
If you have mail-in voting, you automatically have fraud. If you have
well, there's mail-in voting in Florida,
That's
and you
right.
won huge.
That's right. If you have it, you're going to have fraud.
But you won.
Because you don't have any. When you go into a voting place, like you go into one in a properly run state, they look at you, they give voter ID, you give all sorts of identification. I mean, it would be very hard to cheat in a mass scale.
Again, the reason people are concerned about mail-in voting is because Donald Trump put that thought in their head. Absentee voting, mail-in voting has been a thing in disparate states all across the country for years and years and years, if not decades. Some states have universal mail-in voting, and it's fine. Studies have been done by academics and experts in this field, exhaustive studies, that the rates of voter fraud in the United States are absolutely negligible. But he's going to run with this. And it works because it convinces the low information rubes who watch Fox News and Newsmax and OAN and the rest of these idiot networks that it's true. Oh, election security is the issue of our time. And it's just not. In fact, what we do find is when convictions happen, when people get caught, it's typically Republicans who have been swept up in the narrative that the election is at risk, who are trying to cheat the system to get back against the fraud that they think is happening. That's what we see. I mean, look, could there be any more evidence of what I'm talking about than the fact that Donald Trump himself, the liar, hypocrite, grifter, sneaker salesman, votes absentee himself. He votes using mail-in voting in the state she just referenced that he won in a landslide. Donald Trump. He consistently votes by mail. Is that fraudulent? If you listen to Trump, it's fraud. This is what we face. That we have a vast swath of Americans in the United States who fall for this. I think it has to do with the fact that they want to believe it so badly That if it's said, then they can internalize it and walk away with it as though it's fact. Even though the man who's saying it is a proven liar who has told tens of thousands of lies inside of his 4 years, the first and hopefully only time he was president. The conversation meandered. It was all over the place. It's hard to keep Donald Trump pinned down. But it moved on to the judge in this case, where the nearly $500 million verdict was just read against Donald Trump. And she's asking him about the appeal. I did a video about this yesterday. She's asking him about the appeal. They have 30 days to appeal, but if they're going to appeal, he has to put down a bond, which is the total judgment and I believe some interest monies. And she's asking him about whether he has the money. Now, maybe it's just me, but his answer is not convincing. After that, I'm going to play a clip from Alina Haba that I didn't play yesterday that makes it really clear they're very uncomfortable with the prospect of him putting up this money because he doesn't have the money. First, Donald Trump talking to Laura Ingraham, and you tell me if you think I'm right.
Question, which I thought about a lot last night because it's such a huge amount of money. You have to decide whether you're going to put up that bond. An escrow to appeal. Are you going to do that? And where are you going to get the money?
I'll tell you what we're going to do. Number one, well, I have a lot of cash, but that doesn't mean he can take it. I mean, you know what he did? I think he looked at my cash and he said, well, we'll take all of his cash. This is all coming out of the White House. This is everything that you see, whether it's that one or the DA. You know, in the DA's office, in Bragg's office, he has his top people from the DOJ working in the district attorney's office in New York. Nobody knows that. Everything is coming out. This is all election interference. They're trying to damage me so they can win another election. They want to.
We have a lot of cash. That doesn't mean he can take it. I mean, do you know what he did? I think he looked at my cash and said, well, we will take all his cash. Yeah, I'm sure that's how it went down, Donald Trump. It's New York state law, brother. It's not the judge, which brings me to the point of this clip, which is the Alina Haba clip asked by a Newsmax anchor who's not even positioning the question accurately. It's not Judge Ingraham who demands that this money be put forward before you can appeal. It's New York state law. But watch this exchange.
My goodness. So Judge Engoron says that he wants this $350 million within 30 days. Now, I know that you're planning on appealing this, but you've still got to put up the full amount pending that appeal. Does Donald Trump have that kind of money sitting around?
Yes. I mean, he does. Of course, he has money. You know, he's a billionaire. We know that. And
seems unconvinced. Seems unconvincing, to be sure. I mean, he does. Of course, he has money. He's a billionaire. We know that. Do we? Do we know it? It doesn't seem very self-evident, Alina Haba. You seem to be a little squirmy in the seat. I don't know if it's because of the lies that you're telling, or maybe penworms or something. If that's not enough, though. Here's another clip. One more, and we'll finish this. And that is, after this town hall, who would you think you'd go to for accurate, unbiased analysis of what just took place in the candidacy of Donald Trump? Would you go to a political analyst or an expert or a historian? No, that's not what Fox News wants to do. They want to go to Kayleigh McEnany, Donald Trump's not initial lapdog, but one of his many press secretaries, to talk about, in an unbiased manner, what exactly she just witnessed. And is Donald Trump ready for prime time? Is he at his fighting weight, I think is the reference that Jesse Waters uses. Watch this nonsense.
Start with you. Does the former president look like he's in fighting shape?
Yes, I saw a general election candidate tonight, not someone who has a primary on his hands. I saw someone totally focused on winning new voters. I mean, I sat back and I tried to view this through the lens of a suburban woman, suburban mom, an independent voter, and I saw someone who reminded me of better times.
That looks like a general election candidate, says the soccer mom from the suburbs who's not at all just a multimillionaire. And she says that Donald Trump reminded her of better times. Better times for Kayleigh McEnany means when she worked in the West Wing of the White House as press secretary, a very prestigious job. That for her was better times. Things were way better for me during the Trump administration, says the person who worked in the Trump administration. These people are too much. They are too much. Look, I mean, this is more funny than anything else. You can draw your conclusions about the dangers that absolutely are inherent in this situation. But if you don't take a little time to laugh, you know, what are we doing with our lives? It's the house is burning. We can't escape. We might as well enjoy the glint of light and the fumes of a campfire, right? I don't know. Anyway, what do you think? I'd love to know your opinion on this. I invite you to this conversation. 714-576-4054. Of course, you can email me as always, daily@dollemore.com. Hey, if you appreciate me, if I bring you value on a video by video basis, you want to help support and produce this work, click the join button on YouTube, become a channel member for $1.99 a month. You can hit the super thanks button, give a little bit of immediate support, or you can go over to patreon.com/IDoubtItPodcast. And after all of that, if you're still around, you want to follow me on social media, I am at Dollemore on Twitter and Instagram and Threads and TikTok and Facebook and Blue Sky, all of them. If you're there on social media, it's likely I'm there at Dollemore. I love and appreciate you. I'll see you next time. Until I do, be genuine. Take care of one another.